The then little-known parastatal, the Kenya National Trading Corporation KNTC Limited, an institution that has now spiraled to become a theatre and epicenter of multi-billion graft probe by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, has morphed from a one docile entity to a giant state corporation controlling billions of shillings. In one of a two-part investigative series, the Informer Media Group shines a spotlight on the goings-on at the Managing Director Pamela Mutua's led 58-year-old company that got cabinet backing to access 24 billion shillings credit line in form of commercial bank loans for importation of state-sponsored duty-free imports of cheap foods to be distributed through 120,000 shops, ostensibly to lower the cost of living. The over 21 billion shilling worth of tenders so far expended forms the basis of the alleged embezzlement of public funds probe through irregular award of contracts for supply and delivery of food commodities during the financial years 2022-2023 and 2023-2024 at KNTC. The investigation is focusing on both locally and foreign incorporated companies. In our 9-month-long investigative dive inside KNTC, we can now authoritatively reveal that the multi-billion tenders were dished out to a few select companies without competitive bidding process as per the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015. When contacted by the Informer Media Group on March 17, 2023, Mutua promised to issue a comprehensive response, but nothing has been forthcoming. And when reached out to the MD yesterday for a right of reply for the second time, she did not respond to our queries. Mutua said through a short text message on March 17, 2023, quote-unquote, "We'll be in touch and arrange response to the right of reply. We appreciate you getting in touch. Blessings, Pamela Mutua." The anti-graft agency, in a letter signed by Director Investigation Pascal Mweu, Mutua was ordered to provide, among others, the approved budgets and procurement plans for the financial year 2022-2023 and 2023-2024. The letter from EACC reads in part, quote-unquote, "To facilitate the investigation, kindly provide us with all the original documents listed below in relation to procurement of the food commodities." Among the items imported include the 5 billion shilling subsidized fertilizer, edible oils, rice and beans, among others. The state-owned institution has now attracted the attention of opportunistic tenderpreneurs seeking privileged lucrative tenders and sleuths from EACC, DCI and Financial Reporting Center in equal measure, with the latter trio institutions seeking to unravel, detect and preempt a wave of suspected financial scandal and fraud that has dogged KNTC. Domiciled under the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, KNTC is mandated to act as a procurement agent for the government and participate in the promotion of wholesale and retail trade in order to strengthen the supply chain of essential products within the country. According to the official website of KNTC, the parastatal is also mandated with the responsibility of supporting the micro, small and medium enterprises sector through supply of raw materials, provision of consultancy services and identification of markets for their products. In April this year, the National Assembly Public Accounts Committee ordered a forensic audit into the expenditure of 15 billion shillings that was spent on the procurement of subsidized fertilizer. PAC gave Auditor General Nancy Gathungu 30 days to comb through the expenditure and table a report after the committee said it has received information about possible fraud, kickbacks, money laundering and corruption in the procurement of the crucial planting material. In March this year, the House approved an allocation of 15 billion shillings in the supplementary budget for 2022-2023 to the Ministry of Agriculture for the purchase of subsidized fertilizer. Nominated MP John Badi and chairperson of PAC said, quote-unquote, "As PAC, we have resolved unanimously to sanction a forensic audit into the procurement and distribution of fertilizer subsidy after emerging cases of possible corruption, embezzlement and fraudulent activities in the procurement of the fertilizer." The committee ruled, quote-unquote, "Within 30 days, the Auditor General should table its findings before we commence a public inquiry into a possible fertilizer scandal. We will thereafter conduct an open inquiry starting with the Ministry of Lands that received the money. If the funds were channeled to other agencies such as NCPB and the KNTC, all officers involved will be invited to shed light on this procurement." The subsidized fertilizer was being sold at a maximum price of 3,500 shillings per 50 kilogram bag, with the government looking to lower the high cost of production that was incurred by farmers last year when the planting material fetched 6,000 shillings per 50-kilogram bag. The government settled on the KNTC to procure and sell fertilizer to farmers, a role that was previously played by NCPB, which would then bill the treasury for services rendered. Under the scheme, KNTC was to pay the NCPB 50 shillings for the distribution of a single bag, well below the 150 shillings that the grain handler normally earns for the same quantity when supplying for other agencies, including the government. KNTC mainly supplied nitrogen, potassium, calcium fertilizer under the subsidy program, forcing farmers who preferred diammonium phosphate to buy it from agrovets. The Ministry of Agriculture said it had cut on the distribution of DAP as it seeks to cut acidity levels on soils attributed to continuous use of this type of input. A survey done by the central bank ahead of its monetary policy committee meeting late last month had found that only 29% of farmers had purchased subsidized fertilizer as the planting season began in mid-March, citing a lag between the date of receipt of notification and redemption of the voucher. Some of those who had not registered for the plan also cited poor quality of the fertilizer, limited stocks, delayed delivery, and lack of money. The Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization (KALRO) subsequently urged the government to include DAP fertilizer in the subsidy to increase the absorption rate by farmers and enhance productivity on farms. A whistleblowing document filed in the National Assembly shows that KNTC contracted Multi-Commerce FZC for 8.12 billion shillings to supply vegetable oil and Indian white rice, while Standard Petroleum won a 5.5 billion shilling deal to supply rice, red kidney pinto beans, cooking fat, and fertilizer. On the other hand, Lama Commodity Trading was awarded 2.7 billion shilling tender to supply NPK fertilizer, while Charma Holdings Limited was awarded a 2 billion shilling tender to supply edible vegetable oil. Others are Makram Imports and Export Limited with a 1.88 billion shilling tender for the supply of Indian raw white rice, Shehena Company Limited to supply jerrycans of edible oil at 1.33 billion shillings, and Nutriven with 187.5 million shillings to supply rice. While appearing on the floor of the House, a former Trade, Industry and Investments Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria absolved KNTC from any wrongdoing.
Mr. Speaker, this country has also allowed importation of 1.2 million tons of rice. We got approval from Cabinet to import 125,000 metric tons of edible oil.
Kuri is now serving as the CS for Public Service Performance and Delivery Management. He was succeeded by Rebecca Miano in the trade docket.
And so therefore there is never a pause, there is never a comma, there is never a full stop in government. So work continues all the time. His Excellency the President made some reassignment of portfolios last week, and I was reassigned to the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. And CS Rebecca Miano has been reassigned from the Ministry of EAC, ASAL and Regional Development to come and take over from me in this ministry.
I find myself during this reshuffle as the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry. I am very glad. This morning we have spent a lot of time with Waziri Moses. He has taken me through many issues, where they have been, where they have reached, and more importantly, I have fully understood the dream, the foundational work that has been done, and I am glad that I'm coming in at this stage when everything has been set.